Hey, I'm Mike, and today I'm going to be teaching you something I'm super passionate about, baker's math, also known as baker's percentages. Baker's math was created for bakers to quickly write out recipes based on a known amount of flour. In baker's math, flour is always 100%, and every other ingredient is written out as a percentage relative to that flour. These percentages are called baker's percentages. Today I'm going to show you how to adapt baker's math to work for you at home, using a pizza dough recipe as an example.
Let's start with a pretty standard Neapolitan style pizza dough. It's typical to see around 60% hydration in Neapolitan style. Hydration is just a fancy word for how much water is in the dough relative to the amount of flour. 60%, or 60 per 100, means that for every 100 grams of flour, you need 60 grams of water. Salt is 3%, so that's 3 grams per 100 grams of flour, and yeast is 1.5%, or 1.5 grams per 100 grams of flour. 100 grams of flour isn't going to make much dough, so let's up it to 1,000 grams of flour and write out our recipe. Here's a basic Neapolitan pizza dough. Flour, like I said, is always 100%. We'll do that as 1,000 grams. Water at 60% is just 1,000 times 60 over 100, which equals 600 grams. Salt at 3%, 1,000 times 3 over 100, which equals 30 grams. And yeast at 1.5% equals 1,000 times 1.5 over 100, which equals 15 grams.
As mentioned, baker's math is really helpful if you have a set amount of flour. With baker's math, you can scale a recipe to the ingredients you have available. For example, say I have 400 grams of flour left in this bag. Let's figure out how much water, salt, and yeast I need to make dough with it.
So here you see, if we have 400 grams of flour, all you need to do to get the remaining ingredients is multiply by the required percentage. For example, for 60% water, you do 400 times 60 over 100. That's 60%, or 0.6. And you'll get the required amount of water, which is 240 grams. Follow the same calculations for salt and yeast, and you have everything you need to make your dough. Let's look back at that same pizza dough recipe. Flour at 100% is now 400 grams. Water at 60% is just 400 times 60 over 100, which equals 240 grams. Salt at 3%, 400 times 3 over 100 equals 12 grams. And yeast at 1.5% equals 400 times 1.5 over 100, which equals 6 grams.
So in the previous example, we would have made 658 grams of dough. What is that? 219-ish gram dough balls? Is it 329s? Is it 250s and a little mini pizza? Who knows? For bakers or pizzeria owners making dough at scale, it doesn't really matter. All those little bits of dough settle out in the wash. But for a home baker or pizza maker, you want a specific number of pizzas at a specific dough ball weight. Where does that leave you? Well, baker's math is pretty magical. It's possible to flip the math around so you can work out all the ingredient weights based on the number and size of dough balls you want to make.
So if I wanted to make 4 12-inch pizzas at 250 grams each, I'll multiply 250 by 4 and get 1,000. So I'll need 1,000 grams of dough. The first thing I need to do is figure out how much flour I'll need. To do this, I'll start by adding up all the percentages from our recipe, which comes to 164.5%, or 164.5 over 100, or 1.645. Then I divide my total dough weight, 1,000 grams, by this number, which gives me 608, which is the amount of flour I need to make 4 250 gram dough balls. This works because flour is always written as 100%. That's the magic of baker's math. 4 250 gram dough balls equals 1,000 grams of total dough weight. My flour at 100%, plus water at 60%, plus salt at 3%, plus yeast at 1.5% equals 164.5%. My total dough weight at 1,000 grams divided by this total percentage of 164.5 equals 608 grams. Now that we have our flour weight, we can go back to our previous method of working out the remaining quantities of our other ingredients. So flour now at 100% is equal to 608 grams. Our water at 60% would be 608 times 60 over 100, which equals 365 grams. Salt at 3%, 608 times 3 over 100, which equals 18 grams. And yeast, 1.5%, equals 608 grams times 1.5 over 100, which equals 9 grams. If we add all these weights together, we get 1,000 grams, which was our goal for our total dough weight. Magic.
As you can see, it's really that simple. You can always rely on math to get it right. Once you break the formula down, it's not that complicated, and it gives you the complete freedom to chop, change, and experiment where you like.
You may see recipes that call for additional ingredients and percentages such as oil, sugar, sourdough. Just remember, it's always relative to the amount of flour, and you'd use the exact same method for these just as we did with water, salt, and yeast. Mixing flours? No problem. All the flours in the recipe will add up to 100%, always. That's the magic of baker's math.
And don't forget, the Ooni app has loads of extra info and tips on different types of dough, as well as a dough calculator that'll help you on those days when your brain just can't math. Thanks for watching, and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see next.